On of the Shane Fletcher Show. This is Scotty Mahan. Joined beside me is Coach Shane Fletcher.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay, I just make sure you got audio.
I can't hear anything.
I know I got an earache too. So
Okay.
yeah, we're good. We're good. So Coach Fletcher, thank you for joining us. Coach, congratulations on picking up the 4th district win of the season Friday night, moving your guys' record to 7-1 on the season. Your team also secured a ticket to the playoffs with the win Friday night. How important is it to secure a playoff spot 3 weeks before the regular season's over with?
It is. I mean, it's great that you're going to get the opportunity to go play at least one more game. But, I mean, the bigger factor in that is the district that we match up with, you don't want to be third going into that thing, So we got a lot of business to take care of still.
Right. So your Warriors made the trip down to Wood County, down by Lake Fork Friday night to take on the Alba Golden Panthers. The Panthers were coming into this district game being 1-1, having a win over Como-Picton and losing against Rivercrest. Your Warriors were 3-0, having wins over Bowles, Como, and Rivercrest. Man, I feel like we have played in Alba Golden since the senior class was in 7th grade. I feel like
It's a different place to play, I'll tell you that. But there's nobody behind you. I don't mind it because I feel the kids can hear me more.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get excited, over there.
Man, it was kind of weird. So starting off, we had 5 touchdowns in the first half, with the Warriors taking the lead going into halftime, 34-0, and you guys never look back. Levi Beavers once again would lead the offense, putting the team on his back. Beavers would throw for 112 yards, 1 touchdown, and then he would add on 2 rushing touchdowns with 62 yards. Traylon Bailey, once again, man, he's putting up numbers as that sophomore sensation. He's starting to shine, and he had 70 yards rushing for 1 touchdown. And then he also had a receiving touchdown, and he would end the game with 42 yards receiving. And then Mason Banker, man, old Rocky. Rocky would score on both sides of the ball Friday night. The junior linebacker would recover a fumble and take it to the house for the Warriors' 4th defensive touchdown of the year. And then Banker would also have a rushing touchdown on 4 carries for 12 yards. And in the air, the Warriors like to spread the ball around. You had 5 different receivers. Leading the receivers was Kendall Wolf. Wolf had 4 catches for 54 yards, followed by Lane Foster with 42. Bailey had 30. Austin had 2 catches for 15 yards. And then sophomore Cannon Heverin got in the action, got him a 12-yard catch.
Yeah, he did.
So, a lot of good things going on Friday night. How proud are you of this coaching staff and players who have, they've worked hard week in and week out, keeping this offensive train rolling. You guys are averaging 39.8 points a game, and then you're averaging a little bit over 370 yards a game. So, I mean, how proud of you is of this unit, not having Mez, not having Ryland, not having Dre?
Well, and it's been one of those things, that people have had to step up, and they have. I thought we've done a good job as a coaching staff putting kids in the right situation to make them successful. If you'd have told me at the start of the year that we'd lost all those kids and we'd be sitting at 7-1, I told you it's crazy. But like I said, this bunch is real resilient, and they believe in what they're doing, and that's half the battle. So it's been good. It's been real good the way these kids have responded to, and our kids are smart, and we ask a lot of them, of their brain. The days of being a dumb football player are over with. We run so many formations, motions, and shifts. I mean, you have to be intelligent to do what we're doing offensively.
So on the defensive side of the ball, it's business as usual for the Warriors. The defense only gives up 27 yards rushing, 108 yards passing for a total 135 total yards of offense for the Panthers. Alba Golden came out in different formations. I felt like they threw the ball decent.
That guy does a really good job over there, Coach Webster. Man, they do more stuff with motions and shifts than even I do. And, they just try and keep you off balance, give you a bunch of eye candy, and our kids are just, when you're physical, all that stuff doesn't matter.
Right. So how well do you think the defense played Friday night?
Extremely well. Extremely well. And I thought all 3 phases of the game we were good. got a wasn't a plan kickoff, the fumble on the kickoff, but that sure helped. And it just caused an explosion when that happened. We exploded for a lot of points in the first half because of that.
So I want to take this time right now. I'm kind of showing some pictures of the game from Friday night. I just want to recognize three people. They don't you don't really see them on Friday nights from our broadcast, but we use a lot of their stuff. Trish Stoltenberg with Redhead Photography, Brandy, Jolynn, thank you for that. And then we got Paige Banker. You guys are great as far as getting me pictures, letting me use your pictures. I just want to thank you guys. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have near the amount of media stuff as I would.
Well, Trish, we're thinking about you. She got kind of dominoed over on the
yeah, she did.
sidelines. I didn't see it.
I did.
Didn't
I was
see
right
her.
there. And
but Brandy told me about it when I got home, and yeah, Brandy, she's getting better, getting out of the way of stuff. She's and Trish, I think she actually had her back turned, but.
All I was worried about was that camera. Once I saw that she was okay.
It said somebody caught it.
Well, the player did. It was sitting on top of him, and I'm right there, and I was like, give me the camera, give me the camera, give me the camera.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't want him to damage that camera.
Oh, right.
I just want to make sure Trish was okay. But, But I want to talk about a particular player. Let's talk about Brady Banker for a second. We had a linebacker go out in the second quarter. He's typically – he's played some defense this year, but typically he's been on the offensive side. And he comes in and he gets 7 tackles. He has a pass block. How do you think Brady did by stepping in and playing linebacker Friday night?
Brady did good, man. We're so proud of him. And matter of fact, he's going to factor into the defensive game plan several weeks down the road. So, yeah. And, once again, next man up mentality. Your number's called, you got to go in and perform.
Well, that was my next question. It's kind of been the theme for this year, next man up.
Right.
So I guess it's important those guys are getting those meaningful reps. It's
No
not
doubt.
that we're up by 40 and we're just, putting
right.
guys out there. They're getting meaningful reps. They're starting the game or they're coming in very early to get those reps. So to me, that's great for what we're trying to accomplish down the road.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So the defense, they were led by Mason Banker with 9 tackles. We had 3 guys with 9 tackles. Mason had 9. He had 3 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 defensive touchdown. Levi, once again, doing what Levi does best. He had 9 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. And then we had Asher Price. He had 9 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB pressures. Asher, I believe, is leading the team right now with QB pressures with 13.
Yeah.
Levi, tell me if I'm wrong on that. You got 12, right? QB pressures? You got 12, Asher's got 13? Yeah, that's what I thought. And then Brady had 7 tackles, and he had a pass breakup.
Early in the year, Asher got banged up in practice and kind of wasn't himself for a couple of games. But the last 2 weeks, he's really starting to look
Absolutely.
like Asher again.
Absolutely. So with their performances from Friday night, these 3 Warriors have been selected by Tomahawk Sports Media as the Jake Shockley Players of the Week. The Breakthrough Player of the Week is going to be Brady Banker.
Nice.
Brady came in second quarter, did what he had to do, ended the game with 7 tackles. So congratulations, Brady, on the Breakthrough Player of the Week. Receiving the Defensive Player of the Week is going to be Asher Price. Like you said, Asher's kind of getting back to his old self. The senior defensive end had 9 tackles, 5 of those being solo, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB pressures. And then Asher was also nominated for Red River Valley Athlete of the Week.
Right.
Unfortunately, once again, Trinity Christian Academy had a volleyball girl beat us again.
Oh, wow.
Man,
that came out today?
Yeah. Well, I looked at it at probably about 1 o'clock, and she had a pretty substantial lead. So
we got to do something about it. We got to get out and vote, folks.
Yeah, we do.
You see a Honey Grove Warrior on there, get out and vote.
Absolutely. We try to post it as quickly as we can. If we don't, I know Valerie Banker with the cheer on Facebook, she was posting it yesterday before I did. But we got to get these guys out there and vote, get them out there in front of everybody. And then the MVP player of the week is going to be Mason Banker. Rocky did a phenomenal job. He was lights out Friday night. He was coming off his nomination of Red River Valley Athlete of the Week, and then he can just continued his dominance Friday night. He had 9 tackles, 6 solos, 3 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, one of those being a scoop and score. And then on offense, Mason was kind of that short yardage back. He rushed for 4 times for 12 yards, had a touchdown, and then scored a 2-point conversion.
You know, you guys out there, y'all haven't got to see us play. Tune in to Tomahawk and watch, or come watch us play. And when we're on defense, focus on number 1. That little dude is fun to watch. And granted, when you see him, understand that he's about 5'8", 150, but is as mean as a snake and loves to play defense. And he is fun to watch.
So, also, we're going to talk about congratulations to Week 8. Smoky.com, that's a website that kind of covers Texas high school football. You can go to Smoky.com. They have the scores. They have forums. They have college stuff on there, NFL stuff. But that's a pretty cool website now to go to. But each week they have nominations for Players of the Week, Honor Roll. And we had 3 guys that, because of their performance Friday night, was selected for the East Texas Honor Roll. The first one's going to be Rocky Mason Banker. He was selected for the East Texas Honor Roll for Week 8. And then we have Mr. Superman himself, Levi Beavers. He was nominated. I think this is like Levi's 3rd or 4th time to be nominated for the East Texas Honor Roll team. And then we had sophomore sensation Traylon Bailey. He was on there as well. So congratulations to those guys. We're proud of you. Just keep working hard, and maybe next week we can get everybody on it. Because it's going to be – I'm just going to tell you right now, we're not even mentioning that team from Delta County.
I hear you.
Okay, I'm calling them DCU today.
There you go.
Delta County University. We're not even saying the name. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the bye week. Let me get all these graphics off real quick. My graphics guy's not here. But let's talk about the bye week. Let's kind of break down again what the bye week is about and what the program does during the off week.
Bye weeks are kind of designed with the intentions of getting back healthy, and we sure need it right now. So what we do, I gave them Saturday off. We usually bring them in on Saturdays after a game.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How late did y'all stay Friday night, going into Saturday morning?
I left here 1 o'clock, I guess.
I think say
it may have been 2.
So I get, like, when y'all post stats and stuff, I get a notification on Max Prep when y'all do the stats and stuff, and it was like 1:06. And I was like, I bet them suckers didn't go home.
Yeah.
I bet you they stayed, did what they had to do in that way.
Well, and that was kind of, we talked about it as a staff and said, hey, do you guys want to come back tomorrow and get this stuff put in, or do we want to go and do it now? And they all said, let's do it now. So
yeah.
That's what we did. I guess it was about 2 o'clock when I went home.
Yeah. So how important is the bye week before we play that unmentioned team from Delta County next week?
It's important. It gives us an extra week to work on them. Our bye week is not so much about our opponent. It's about us that week. Like I said, we're going to go back to basics and work on those first 2 steps, work on hand placement, work on where we fit defensively, work a lot in the kicking game. So we're just going to go back to basics, back to 2-a-days, day 1 practice stuff.
Right.
And that's what we did today. Monday we come in, we lift and watch film, run a little bit and turn them loose. Tuesday, all defense for an hour and a half. Wednesday, all offense for an hour and a half. Tomorrow we'll come back in and we'll do a little mixture of both, a little offense and defense. And then Friday we'll lift, run, and then go scout.
So I seen this. Somebody said this on one of them forums. I know you don't look at it, but I do. But we don't pick our bye week, right?
No.
It's just kind of how when you do that district meeting, it's just kind of how it falls, right? It's not, well, we got the bye week before. We wanted the bye week before Cooper. We didn't.
No.
That wasn't us.
If you have no, you don't get to pick your bye week. The computer kicks it out for you.
Right.
Yeah, so.
I got you.
And then, don't get me wrong, I like where it is.
Yeah.
I think we kind of lucked out on that deal.
But, Delta County University, they play us next week, and then they're done.
Yeah.
So, to me, I like you said, I like where ours is at. We'll have 2 games to play, and then we roll into the playoffs. It's not, well, now we're done next week, and now we got to wait, and then we got to see who we got to play and all that stuff.
Sometimes with the bye week, you worry, are the kids going to come out flat? With this bunch, they're so seasoned. They played a lot of football games. The senior class has, and juniors played a lot of football games in their career. So I'm not so much worried about that. Plus, with the game, the all the hype around it and all that, I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah. So how do you keep the team motivated and focused during the break?
And that's one thing we try to instill around here. Every time you show up, whether it's off-season football practice or whatever, we're gonna demand a lot out of them, and we're gonna keep them focused by working, and that's kind of how it's been. And man, I mean, yesterday and today were long because, like I said, you're an hour and a half on one side of the ball. So your individual time is long, so we get a lot of drill work. Well, sometimes them drills wear you down. Austin yesterday was like, man, that was tougher than a regular Tuesday practice. So, but these bye weeks, they fly by, and like I said, we're addressing some wounds and trying to get people healed back up, and at the same time, we're trying to get better.
Yeah, so I had Coach Shane Brown text me today.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to tell you to tell the guys he miss y'all, loves y'all.
Sure, we miss you, Coach Brown.
But he asked me, he said, hey, man, how you liking this bye week? I was like, dude, I'm still working.
Yeah.
We're still working.
Yeah.
Still doing the bye week and still doing the podcast. We're working on content for next week, but, we're still working. So what is one thing that you kind of learned over the years about making the most of a bye week?
I don't know. It just kind of falls into place, and when I was at Leonard, I had a staff of veteran coaches, and they'd been other places, and we kind of kicked around, how we thought we needed to do things, and that's what we come up with, and it's been good. It's been a good thing.
So next week, we're not going to be previewing who we're playing next week. We'll say that for next week.
There you go.
Okay, that's probably going to be one of the most anticipated matchups in the state of Texas.
I like it.
It's been 370 days since the two teams battled it out, but I promise, and I'm sure you'll promise, that it's going to be a great game in Texas next week, come Friday, November 1st at 7 p.m.
No doubt.
You better get there pretty early.
Yeah, you better.
Because we got senior night that night. I remember last year we had people putting stuff in the stands at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. That way they kind of secured their seats.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be packed, no doubt.
So let's talk about district standings and who we got playing Friday night in the district. We got the bye week. Alba Golden is going to face Cooper on Friday night. That's going to be Cooper's senior night. That's at 7 o'clock at Bulldog Stadium. Then, you got Rivercrest. This to me is a pretty big game. You got Rivercrest going to Omaha to play Paul Pugh.
Huge game.
That is a huge game.
Huge game.
That's more or less a seeding game of who's going to be where, and but that's going to be a game I'm going to be watching. And then you got the battle of the winless in the district. You got Como Picton playing Bowles at Copper at 7 o'clock. So those should be some good games. Alba and DCU. DCU is 22-point favorites. You got Rivercrest, they're 1-point favorites in that game, and then Bowles is 2-point favorites in that game.
We're like a 60-point favorite over by, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, they've already got the numbers out for next week. You want to know what you are next week?
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the playoffs. Who are some possible playoff opponents that we could see in round one?
It's probably either going to be Elysian Fields or Big Sandy, one of those two, the way it looks. And here's the thing. That district we match up with, I talked about this last week, is very good, very good. Those top four teams can play. So you're going to have to definitely bring your A game in the first round of the playoffs to advance. Elysian Fields dropping down from 3A. They've kind of caught everybody off guard, and Wascom for sure has. So Wascom Beckville's going to be number one and number two. So it's going to. Yeah, it's going to be.
It's not going to be like last year or the year before playing the Harletons or the War Cities.
Well, those two teams are now last and second to last.
Yeah. So, but Yeah, I mean, that's what Dave Campbell's football, they have us predicted to play at Legion Fields.
Right.
So that'll be good. So let's move it along. Got news and knuckleheads. That's kind of my favorite segment of the week. And man, there's really not that much news out there. I guess everybody's acting well and things are going right in the world, in the sports world. But
tons of injuries in the NFL.
Yeah.
Tons of injuries.
But we're going to start it off with knuckleheads. We're going to talk about the Texas Longhorn fans. The SEC fined the University of Texas $250,000 and charged the school to use all available resources to identify and ban fans who threw trash onto the field during Saturday night's football game against Georgia. Frustrated fans launched water bottles and other debris onto the field after what appeared to be an interception and a big return by Longhorns defensive back J.D. Barron in the third quarter, only to be initially called back due to a defensive pass interference penalty. Trash started raining down onto the field from the north and the northwest side of the stadium where the student section was located, and Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian rushed over and yelled at them to stop, waving his hands frantically. In addition to the fine, Texas must use security, stadium, and television cameras to figure out who threw the trash onto the field or at players and ban them from all Texas athletic events for the rest of the 2024-2025 year. So I saw some texts. I think some Texas students were posting pictures that they where they received a text to where they were identified as being one of the fans that threw the debris, and then they lost their season pass.
Yeah, people don't understand, that when you do stuff like that, it only hurts the team that you're rooting for.
Absolutely.
I'm like, golly, have some sense,
I mean,
that's knuckleheads.
That's
You're
knuckleheads.
Exactly right.
That's why I led with it. So some other news, and this movie's kind of, man, I love this movie. Friday Night Lights it turns 20 years old. It came out in
That's unbelievable.
Man, I know. I remember reading the book in high school, and then the movie came out in 2004. But it's written and directed by Peter Berg. The film, if you haven't watched it, it's a great football movie, but it follows the coach and players of the high school football team in the Texas city of Odessa. The book, which is based Friday Night Lights, A Town, a Team, a Dream by H.G. Bessinger, followed the story of the 1988 Permian High School Panther football team as they made a run towards the state championship. Which is, in that movie, they follow that team, that 88 team, and then the 89 team ends up winning the state championship.
Yes.
So, Coach Flowers, I was talking to him. He lived out in Odessa.
Right.
And so he said, man, that thing was crazy back in the day with just Odessa and then Odessa Permian playing.
Yeah, Odessa High and Odessa Permian. I remember in southwestern Oklahoma, we knew the stories of Permian. It was
Booby Miles.
Yeah, Booby. Put Booby in, watch him spin. Well, the guy, was it Chris Comer, his backup that came in?
Waterbug.
See, he the next year on that state championship team, he led it, man. I mean, he was a dude that next year. So it was a very cool story.
Yeah, I've cried a few times watching that movie. There's one particular scene where Tim McGraw hands his son. They didn't win the state championship, and he's out there and he hands his son his state championship and gives him a hug. Man, that just brings tears to my eyes. That's something that, unfortunately, hopefully, I don't have to do that.
I know, right? Well, and it's a story about resilience too. They lost their best player.
Yeah.
And them suckers they stayed the course and made it happen. It's a heck of a story.
So the next thing is the Texas A&M ticket prices. That's in the news. It's been 13 long years since the Texas A&M Aggies and the Texas Longhorns have done battle on the gridiron, and the renewal of the in-state rivalry on November 30th is drawing anticipation from all across the country. How much you think a ticket to that game's going to go for?
Free.
Free?
Free.
Because you're going to watch it at home.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I mean, I would say, maybe $500-600.
So, in fact, the ticket prices for the renewal of Lone Star Showdown range from $759 in the nosebleeds of Kyle Field.
Wow.
All the way up to $5,447 if you want a bird's eye view or perhaps a club seat of some sort.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to have to talk to Zach Whitlock with Whitlock Hair Services. You know, he's a Texas A&M alumni. I'm say, hey, man, we're going to get some tickets to that, or we're going to watch it from the house?
Take a helicopter and hover over it?
Hey, I'm going to tell you what. We went flying this weekend, speaking of Whitlock Air Services. That was pretty cool. We went Saturday night, right after the Tennessee-Alabama game. He's like, hey, y'all want to go fly? And, man, just flying around this place is beautiful.
Oh, I can imagine.
I mean, we flew over the stadium. We went out to the racetrack, went out to the Red River. We just went down the Red River. That was awesome. Looked up, and there's the casino in Durant. Bo was just having a good time.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, all right, Bo's going to throw up. No, Bo's like, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. And I asked him because, he'll go down to College Station. I said, man, how long does it take to get down there? He was like, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the way to go.
I had an uncle that was a pilot, and he used to come pick me and my brother up and take us flying and take us to my dad's hometown.
Yeah.
In Walters. He'd fly us there and take us to Grandma's house. It was fun, real fun.
Man, me and Bo had a blast. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is Sam Houston.
I watched it last night. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great game. Jace Bauer threw for 76 yards, rushed for 72 more in his first career start for Sam Houston, and the Bearcats held off Florida International 10-7 last night to become bowl eligible in their first season following a 2-year transition to the FBS. Sam Houston 6-2, 3-1 in Conference USA play, and they became the 4th consecutive program to make the transition up and become bowl eligible within the first 2 seasons of being in the FBS, joining Jacksonville State in 2023, James Madison in 2023, and then Liberty in 2028. So Sam Houston's on the up and up.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they win 2 games last year?
Yeah, they weren't very good.
Unbelievable turnaround.
Yeah.
And part of the reason they won that game, and listen, I'm an 80s guy. That's when I grew up in the 80s. But those Miami Vice uniforms are atrocious. Austin loved them, and I was like, those are terrible.
Well, I love uniforms, and
I do too. Like Coastal Carolina, I love that look.
I love the old Houston Oilers jerseys.
Yeah.
That was a cool
baby blue.
Oh yeah, that was a cool uniform to have. And let's talk about touchdowns and tangents. That's when we talk about the Oklahoma Sooners and the Alabama Crimson
Bless their
Tide.
hearts.
Man, we're not very good right now. So South Carolina dominated Oklahoma, beating them 35-9. I saw where Jackson Arnold pretty much gave up his red shirt coming into that game.
And he's already been listed as a starter for this coming up week.
So they struggled early, turning the ball over 4 times in the first half, including 2 defensive touchdowns for South Carolina. The Sooners' offense never found its rhythm despite outgaining South Carolina. They just couldn't capitalize on the opportunities. Oklahoma's passing game was inconsistent. They only had 53 yards rushing on 41 attempts. In South Carolina's defense, that was pretty much the story of the game, forcing turnovers and controlling the tempo. So what's your thoughts on the Sooners versus the Gamecocks?
I'm glad I didn't watch it. I went up to Southeastern and watched my Savages get a dub.
Yeah.
Watched my boy DJ Brown rush for 130 yards and long touchdown. We got 3 kids that I coach that are playing up there now, and DJ and Braden Harris and Deion Morris. And it's fun to get to go watch. This year was the first time I've been back to watch a game since I graduated from there almost 30 years ago. Oh, that's hard to say.
Golly.
But I've had a lot of fun the 2 times I've went. And then next November the 9th, they're going to honor the conference championship team. I was on a conference championship team, so Coach Wiggins and myself will go up there for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about the Oklahoma Sooners right now.
Well, let's talk about my Alabama Crimson Tide. They, it was looking good there for a while, but they ended up getting beat 24-17 in the 3rd weekend in October rivalry. Alabama started strong. Jalen Milroe connected on a 5-yard touchdown to Ryan Williams in the 2nd quarter. It was neck and neck the whole game, and then all of a sudden you had an explosion in the 4th, and then Tennessee kicks a field goal, making it 17-14, and then they came back through another touchdown, and that pretty much sealed the deal. You know, to me, Alabama's not the same team. I mean, I think it's a gauntlet every week. I got this guy on TikTok, and he's just like, he does the SEC, and he's like each team, and you know, he's like, it's talking about Oklahoma. What do y'all do? Just beat the crap out of each other every week?
Yeah.
You know, and he's talking about that, and it's basically it's like, all right, you beat one team, now you either beat the next team or that team beats you, and it's –
can't have any letdowns.
You know, and I think before Texas and Oklahoma were in here, there were some games that it was kind of some powder puff games to where they can reset and redo everything and get back and get focused. But now, man, it's a gauntlet every week. And, and we're going to talk about that when we go to College Pick'em here in a minute. But, man, I mean, that's just brutal. Well, speaking of College Pick'em, just a reminder, this is all for fun. It's not for gambling advice. Good grief, don't take our advice.
Yeah, don't.
You're going to lose money.
Don't. And
right?
Don't bet on Michigan.
Yeah, I know. I had to go back and listen just to make sure I had that right. So we both lost the Texas game, but let's kind of see where we're at. You're 3-2 last week. I went 3-2. I'm 22-13 for 63%. You're 19-16 with 54% on the season.
Over 50.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad, but we lost the Texas game. We both got the Tennessee game. I lost the Arkansas LSU game. I don't know what I was thinking there. You picked Michigan. I picked Illinois. Got that one right. And then we both picked Texas A&M. So this week's games, these are a little bit different games. I mean,
I'm going 100%.
All right, let's do it. Notre Dame versus Navy at MetLife in New Jersey. So here's a statistic for you. I'm going to add some Army in there too. Army and Navy, it is the first time that both teams are undefeated since World War II.
You know, right now, my Sooners are struggling, and I'm an Army fan right now.
Okay.
I'm an Army fan, man. Those guys.
So Notre Dame versus Navy. Who you got?
Midshipman. Give me Navy.
All right.
And I know we got a, former Yellow Jacket playing running back up there, and JD, and he's doing great things up there. But, man, them dudes are hot right now. Give me Navy.
I'll go Notre Dame. As bad as I hate to. All right. Texas versus Vandy in Nashville. Texas is 18.5-point favorites. Will the Commodores tear down the goalpost again against the Longhorns?
No.
Going Texas?
Yeah, I'm going Texas.
All right. I'll go Texas as well. LSU versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M 2.5-point favorite at Kyle Field. That place is going to be rocking.
That's going to be a good football game. Hey, LSU is that team that's kind of just really been kind of sneaking along, kind of under the radar. Nobody's really talking a lot about them, but them dudes can play.
Yeah, they can.
I'm still going Aggies.
Oh. All right. I'll go LSU. All right. SMU versus Duke. Both teams are 6-1. SMU is now in the top 25. SMU is actually 11.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going Ponies. SMU.
Yeah, I'll go SMU. Boise State versus UNLV. Friday night game. Heisman Trophy frontrunner Ashton Genty and the Broncos are 3.5-point favorites.
And they're going to, Boise.
So
that kid's special.
Yeah, he is. You just see how he stands in the backfield? He's just like, and then he goes.
He's special. He's a Frisco kid.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so you got Navy, I got Notre Dame, we both got Texas. You got A&M, I got LSU, we both got SMU, and both got Boise State. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's talk about the 2-minute drill. This is kind of our NFL thing. We're going to talk some NFL now. Dallas Cowboys are off, so we didn't have no disappointment there. They didn't get beat and they didn't win, so we can't talk about them. But Pittsburgh Steelers dominated the New York Jets 37-15 on Sunday Night Football. The game saw the Steelers score 31 unanswered points after a close first half. Russell Wilson had a standout performance, throwing for 2 touchdowns and rushing for another. Pittsburgh's defense was equally impressive, stifling the Jets' offense, sacking Aaron Rodgers multiple times and forcing key turnovers. Man, Russell Wilson looked pretty dang good.
Well, and I was hoping this whole year, that when he finally got his shot, that's what he would look like. We got a chance to watch the game, and of course we're big Steelers fans at my house, and we're very excited when Russell started playing well.
Who's that third down back that comes in behind Najee?
That's actually Greg knows that kid.
Really?
Yeah, he's through the funeral business, but he's an Islander kid. I don't know where he lives, but yeah, he's a load.
Dude.
He's a load. He had a great year last year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Greg actually knows the guy.
I mean, that third down dude, I mean, he looked better than Najee Harris.
Yeah, well.
I thought.
Yeah, Najee, man, he's so – I don't know. He's such a slasher,
Yeah.
And anyway, they're good compliments to each other.
So the next game we got is Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota was unbeaten. Detroit hands them a loss, 31-29, and one of the best games of the weekend.
And I love the Lions, right? I love it when the Lions are good. They were down for so many years that it was just it's fun to watch them be good.
I like Dan Campbell.
Oh, love him.
He seems like y'all would all just get
Love
along
him.
just fine. I
Love
mean,
him.
he's kind of a Wiggins kind of
Yeah, he kind
top
of is.
guy.
Yeah.
What's up, Ryan? Ryan with the Trailer Guys. He's come in. And then basically the Lions secured a win with a 44-yard field goal by Jake Bates with just 15 seconds left in that game. And then the next one is going to be Baltimore and Tampa Bay, and we were kind of talking this before the game, but Baltimore beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 41-31 on Monday Night Football. The Buccaneers started strong, taking a 10-0 lead. Mike Evans catching his 100th career touchdown. However, injuries are the key players, including Evans and Chris Godwin, impacted Tampa Bay's offense. Evans left with a hamstring injury, and Godwin was carted off the field late in the game with a severe ankle injury. And then this dude went off. Ravens QB Lamar Jackson, he was 17 of 22 for 268 yards and had 5 touchdowns.
Did you see Derrick Henry hit 21.7 miles per hour?
Could you imagine hitting that big sucker? That big sucker
255 pounds?
God,
that is unreal.
And he had 243 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay had a late surge, including 2 touchdowns in the final minutes, but it wasn't enough. We talked about Knucklehead before we went live. Let's talk about that Knucklehead.
Man, I'm a Baker fan. I love Baker Mayfield to death. And he's a winner, man. He's a gunslinger, and he's going to play hard. And he's the Brett Favre kind of guy that he would play for free he just wants to play football.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an ounce of quit in him. And they were out there still trying to go score. There was 40-something seconds left, and he throws the ball to Godwin, breaks his ankle, and it's like hindsight's 20/20. Number one, you sit Mike Evans out, and let him get healed up, and get him. As now they're saying he's probably not going to be available to week 12.
Yeah.
And then there at the end, run the ball and get out of there. Trying to stay as healthy as you can. And Godwin breaks his leg. They're in trouble offensively.
Have you seen the video of Godwin? He's in the cart and he tells the trainer, "Time to get to work."
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the mentality.
He's a dang good player, man. And like I said, they didn't show it again, the replay, and I haven't seen it, but I rewound it on our TV trying to see, but of course I couldn't slow it down. You couldn't really tell, but reports I got dislocated ankle. Yeah, not good.
So the final game was a Super Bowl rematch from last year. Kansas City beat the San Francisco 49ers 28-18 at Levi Stadium. The offense for the 49ers struggled to find consistency. Brock Purdy had a decent showing for the 49ers, throwing for 212 yards and scoring 2 rushing touchdowns. But, man, it's just not enough to keep the Chiefs down. Today, just talking about the Chiefs, they finalized a deal for DeAndre Hopkins.
I heard.
So the rich is getting richer.
D-Hop old, man.
I know, but still.
I think with all the injuries, Ayuk gone, the 49ers are banged up. And I saw a picture of their head coach sitting in a room, and there was a couple of players in there, and it said that they're starting to unravel, and
Yeah.
and once again, we've lived this,
Yep.
It would be very easy to unravel,
Yeah.
But yeah, they're struggling. The Niners are right now, and Kansas City, man, they're just resilient. They just keep finding. You even got the best play caller in the world, Andy Reid. Man, that dude comes up with some stuff, and I love watching them play. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I love watching them play, just for the fact that you're not going to see a bland offense out of them.
Right.
You're going to see. And Mahomes, man, people said, well, his stats are down. Man, that dude wins. That run he made on the sideline where he faked like he's going to run out of bounds, that dude he's a dude.
I love him.
I love him.
I do too.
He's a player.
So let's talk about Week 9 state rankings. Man, really nothing's changed. Stanford's still sitting at number 1. They're 7-0. They're going to take on Abilene TLCA Eagles. Refugio finally comes off the bye week. They're playing Freer Buckaroos. That's a cool name, Buckaroos.
Yeah.
Number 3, Ganado. They got a bye week. Sunray, this is going to be a good game right here. Sunray, 7-0. They're matching up with number 7 in the state, Panhandle. Both teams are 7-0. That's pretty much going to decide that district championship right there.
Yep.
So Hawley's taking on Cisco. We got the bye week. Talked about Panhandle playing Sunray. Hopefully Panhandle can, we saw the quarterback from Sunray this summer, Armando Luan. Man, he's been chasing.
We got cheated in that game.
We did, and it was so weird. So we went to that Ford Built Tough banquet with Brody. He sat at our table,
right.
So it was cool. So I got to talk to him during that, and then 7-on-7, I was able to talk to his dad. But he's a great kid. I mean,
he's thrown for a gajillion yards.
I know. I think last year he threw for like 4,000.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Number 8, Mason Puncher, 6-1, is going to face Holland. Mildred, 7.
That's a big game.
Is it?
Yes. That's a big game.
And then Mildred, 7-0, is going to take on Corinne's. And then number 10, Hamilton's going to face Bangs. So that's going to wrap up the Week 9 players.
And the Holly Cisco game. The Holly Cisco game would be better than it is on paper.
Really?
Yes. Them Cisco kids are tough, man.
So we got a lot of good football going on in the state of Texas in this week.
No doubt.
So, Coach, got some area events going on this weekend. Saturday morning, man, it's already that time. But Saturday morning, 10 a.m., the Honey Grove Lady Warriors are going to have their first scrimmage of the 2024-2025 season versus Blue Ridge. Then on Monday night, I just want everybody to be clear of this game. The scrimmage on Tuesday night has been moved to Monday night due to volleyball being played in Paris. So the girls are going to scrimmage on Monday night versus Paris at 5 o'clock. And then they have their season opener on Saturday, November 2nd versus Caddo Mills at home. So come out Saturday morning if you can. Watch the girls. Get ready for the new season. I'm pretty excited.
It'll be a great year for the Lady Warriors.
For talking to Coach Lane, I mean, there's no easy road to San Antonio.
No.
They split it up to where there's going to be 12 state champions.
Right.
There's no easy route.
No.
Either way we go, I mean, it's going to be hard. But come out, support those ladies. Some other guys that hopefully you guys can come out and support. Watch the season finale for the Honey Grove Youth Sports football team starting at 10:30. The Pee Wee team will take on Farmersville. Then at 12, my favorite team, my group of misfits, my little 12 kids. We're going to start at 12, and then playing at 1:30 is going to be the senior team. And then if you stick around for Trunk or Treat. We got Trunk or Treat going on the square. Small Town Charm presents that. That's going to start at 6:30 and goes to about 8 p.m. I know you're on a diet.
So Brandy's excited about the Trunk or Treat.
Is she really?
Yes. We talked about it last night.
Man, that's where we're going after we get through at Field of Faith. We're going to go back up there and work. I told Beck, hey, let's make it a sandwich night. That way we can go up there and work on stuff. We love it. We have a good time with it. We enjoy it's free to everybody. A lot of the businesses, a lot of the churches, stuff like that get involved in it.
No doubt.
So it's a good time for the community and to have fun with that. What was your favorite candy growing up for Halloween?
Chick-a-stick.
Oh, man.
I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's, you just put chocolate on it and it's a Butterfinger.
Yeah, yeah. Chicken stick back in the day was amazing.
I love it. So, man, big week of football next week. I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, I have all the reason to be kind of sad because it's the last senior night that I'm going to have for my oldest. But, you know, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a rivalry game. So join us next week on the Shane Fletcher Show. We got some really special guests. I got a coaching legend joining us next week.
Uh-oh.
He's ready.
Uh-oh.
He's ready to talk.
Uh-oh.
He's ready to talk. But I'm working on some special guests to have in here for next week. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you guys. You know, it's been a great season, but just want to thank Hidden Grove RV Park, Small Town Charm, Whitlock Air Services, The Rails, Jake Shockley Insurance, Credit Union of Texas, Bryant Construction, The Trailer Guys, Bloodworth Services, Honeygrove Library and Learning Center, Tyndall Meat Company, Moe's Trophies, Salon L, First Baptist Church of Honeygrove, Moon Mart, Cattlemen's Livestock Commission, Right On Roofing out of Celeste, Texas, Eagerly Sought, Anna Deckert Realtor with On Point Properties, 903 Threads, Ted Varner with Texas Farm Bureau, Gaither's Complete Welding, Fannin Bank, FBC Roofing, Maxlock Cattle Company, Rapid Relief Mobile IV, Massey Monument Leveling, Leeton Services, and Sportsman Taxidermy. Thank you guys for being our sponsors this year. Really do appreciate that. Let me get all my graphics off real quick. There we go. But Coach Fletcher, we're going to get out of here. We got the Field of Faith fixing to happen here in about 2 minutes. But, you know, have a great week. Y'all be safe. I know y'all are going to watch some games, but you guys be safe.
Sir.
And we'll see you guys next week. Just a reminder, if you haven't seen it yet, Field of Faith tonight at 6 o'clock over at Warrior Stadium. But, guys, go Big Orange, go Fight Win, go Warriors. We'll see you guys next week.
Go Warriors.